We're in trouble in America. We're losing our moral bearings. We're losing our respect for the rule of law. And you look around America today and things are bad and they're getting worse. We're broke. We're dispirited. We're scared. We've been moving closer and closer to socialism, further away from God, the Constitution, doing what's right in our own eyes, and all the while, not noticing that it's killing us. It's killing our nation.
Just beginning.
Americans tend to be too comfortable, slowly but surely turning their backs on the sacrifices their forefathers made for liberty. Why is that? As bad as it is, as horrible as it seems, as unlikely as it appears that we can escape, what we're going through can actually be a vitally necessary experience for us, and one that is ultimately very healthy and liberating for this country. The truth needs to be told in all the dark places, because it's the truth that sets us free.
WorldNetDaily is on the air. It is November 22nd, 2024, and this is not a game, folks, as the bulk of the media kind of ignores what's been going on over in the Ukraine and Russia war, which sounds more and more like a United States versus Russia war, as Ukraine launched missiles into Russia after the Biden administration gave the go-ahead. And then Russia decides to launch an it's not an ICBM, Josh. It's an IRBM or something like that. I mean, this is
generally
just to kind of show the power that Putin has over there.
Yeah, I mean, what do we need next, guys? Do we need a nuke to go off, I guess?
That's what we're waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, we are kind of waiting for that at this moment. It's we're going to cover it. We're going to cover it all today. We're going to show you as much as we know. And, you know, this, as you guys know, this is the part where I generally geek out on. I like the military stuff a lot. Unfortunately, like, I can't believe
now you
simulations.
Now we have got a front row seat to this stuff. We've got some footage that people have been sharing across social media here. But first, we have this this simulation here that we wanted to share with folks. Explain what this is, Josh.
Yeah, so this is like a Russian military bureau video of like a simulation of what they would call like a MIRV, or I think it's a multiple reentry vehicle, or whatever the acronym is. But that's what it's looking like they fired. And normally these would have nuclear payloads or really high explosive payloads. And these kind of things, when they launch, it's no joke. So let's watch the video, and then we'll come back to do all the commentary. Yeah.
The heck was that? I mean, that's
Pretty serious.
Yeah, that's pretty serious stuff. And when you think about the capabilities of having multiple of the larger rockets that split off into these tiny little warheads, this is what we're talking about here.
So I think what we want to do, Matt, is like, so this video is a simulation of like how the rocket would operate. It's really interesting because we're going to show you comparative footage of what we've seen, what we believe has leaked. And let's give you a large caveat here. We're not sure actually what is real and what is not. That's just kind of the nature of this moment. But we're going to show you what is at least circulating. And go ahead, Matt.
Were we going to show the image from War Clandestine? He usually does, he or she, this account usually does their due diligence here, but this is the image that he says the Pentagon confirmed that the Russians notified the U.S. before the launch that they would be firing an IRBM, but without the nuclear payloads in. So we're thankful for that. But yeah, what is this image here?
So I'm gonna throw up this image real quick, and this is actually a what this is. This is just a video that was released. Actually, let me show you this one. Let me pull it up. So this is an image of the rocket in flight. I'll just pull that up here. And let's see. I'll play it so you can see it. There's a little bit talking in the background, but so this bizarre Russian music, of course, I'll pull that out. So like what this is, Matt, is this is what it looks like when the rocket is essentially it's taken off at night and it's gone into the atmosphere. You can see it here too. I'll make it a little larger.
Right.
So the reason it's lit up, this always freaks people out. And if you live anywhere near a rocket's launch at night, it's gone up high enough that the sun, it's over the curvature of the earth where the sun is, and it's lighting up the rocket. So the difference between this and, say, for instance, like an ATACMS, like we're firing at the Ukrainians with our help are firing, is those don't go high enough to have this effect at night, right? So this is above the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So
this is reminiscent if those have lived around when SpaceX was launching their rockets. We would see these at night. And precisely you said, because it goes high enough to where the sun is still can still shine upon it. Yeah,
right. And so like putting together a little bit of investigation here, we can see that we only see one rocket firing into the atmosphere that everyone witnessed. But if we just go over and look at our other video, let's go ahead and play that video. Okay, so in this video, you are see those multiple strikes that are hitting simultaneously? Well, this rocket is going to either have 4 or 6 independent warheads. Okay, and one thing that's really important, I don't know that I've heard a lot of people talking about this yet, is let's go back to that impact shot real quick. The one thing that's really important is see how they all hit at once, right? Those are hypersonic weapons. They are flying. But also, there's pretty much nothing on board those devices. I don't even think there was an explosive inside the weapon, because
it looked like those were they just hit impact.
Yeah.
And there was no aftermath from it. Yeah.
So this is, if we want to think about this critically, this is the Russians being very careful. Okay.
Yes.
They've done multiple things here. They've shown us a new capability. Probably the Pentagon is well informed of this capability, right? But they're showing us, hey guys, this weapon system is operational and we can fire it, and you can't stop it from coming in, right? That's their whole thing here. And they're saying, if we want to escalate, we can put this weapon into effect. And what would they do with it? They'd hit Kiev or something, right? And one thing that's really okay.
I mean, Kiev. Yeah. We saw a video the other day where they'd hit Warsaw. They'd hit
they'd hit
Paris. They'd hit London. I mean,
It's really important, I think, Matt, to stress this. And guys, this is weird. Like, I grew up watching Rambo, or Rambo literally killed Russians in more than one movie. In the last two movies, right? Like 2 and 3, he killed Russians. And as a child, I cheered it on. Right, Matt?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But dude, this is very measured, because I mean, and then I saw a headline today that said, Britain said, we're ready for war. How the hell are you ready for war, Britain?
Yeah.
So you're ready to receive incoming missiles? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's where we have to turn to. Should we turn to the poly market?
Yeah, guys. I mean, like,
this is interesting. Again, this became super famous. I wasn't really familiar with this until the election that we just had. That we'd follow the markets here and how well that predicted how the election would go. And so, what do? They ask these questions all the time. I mean, this is kind of an unknowable thing. Will a nuclear weapon detonate in 2024? And I like our odds right now. They're pretty low.
You know what's crazy, Matt, is like since World War II, the CIA has ran like a psychological review board for many different things. But one thing it does is it is constantly looking at the public sentiment. And now it's technology based, right? I'm sure they have a really advanced version, but we in the public, we got something like Polymarket now, right? And Polymarket is measuring sentiment, and the fact that there's, but even this option is really terrible.
It is, because who's betting for it? You're like, oh, I got the long shot. I'm going to take the long shot here, and I'm going to put down, 10 grand on the long shot. You can't even collect if it happens, Josh.
I
you won't
know.
even be able to collect.
We have to watch this though, because it means something in the larger picture. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It does. And you're right about the public sentiment and about what the governments are doing themselves. Sure. Yeah.
Matt, this Estelle's, of course, got a great. Josh watched Rambo, and then I watched Steven Seagal, and then he moved to Russia. You mean Steven Seagal, right? Not me. Yeah, Steven Seagal did.
Steven Seagal.
He did move to Russia because they worshipped him for a while there. They kind of still do. Good comment, Estelle.
Okay, well, we talk about the measure, how measured Russia is being right now, because they literally are in the that sleep. I mean, we usually call America the sleeping tiger or the sleeping lion or
sleeping giant.
The sleeping giant, but they really are in that position where it's like they too could just lash out at any moment. Yeah. And there's really nothing that anybody can really do about it that we know of. I mean, I would suspect that at least if there's one government on Earth, if there's one military force on Earth with its space force and all, that we would have some sort of defense against what Russia is planning out there or what they're capable of. But right now, like you said, they're being measured. They fired this missile that could have done damage if it was armed, and apparently it wasn't armed. And Putin, he acknowledged that in this 7-minute long address that he gave, 7 or 8 minute long address that he gave to his country that was broadcast on RT network, and there was some translation live happening in it. And so let's listen to a little bit of what Mr. Putin said.
And further, plans are being made in Europe and the Asia Pacific to deploy weapons and missiles. And we believe it is a mistake on the part of the United States to destroy the system that was established by the Missile Treaty in 2019. We see that the United States and their allies are now considering and has successfully tested their capabilities to deploy advanced missile systems in different parts of the world, and their exercises routinely include the use of such weapons. Russia has unilaterally refused to deploy intermediate and small-range missiles until we see similar weapons deployed by the United States in a region of the world. The use of the novel system, which was essentially an operational test, was carried out in response to the decisions made by the United States and their allies. And the further actions will be considered and decided based on what we see from them. The further course of action will be determined based on the threats to the security of the Russian Federation. We believe that we have the right to use.
Yeah, so you heard it there. You heard it from him. He said that this was a show of force. You know, that we wanted to show the capabilities of what we can do. And I mean, did anybody ever doubt that Russia doesn't have the weapons that we've known them to have for decades now? I mean, this is
so. Yeah, I dug into this a little bit more, Matt, and kind of what was happening in the background is people were not sure, apparently. I'm sure the intel agencies know this, but, you know, people that follow military advancement, they weren't sure that Russia had a hypersonic system like this, a multiple warhead hypersonic system ready to go. And there was even some speculation that they canceled the program a few years back. But this was meant to show that, nope, the program works just fine. And I did notice there that Putin mentioned, I didn't catch this before, but Putin mentioned that we have been doing testing like this. And I forgot, I think it was on election night, we had essentially what's a Minuteman ICBM test that launched out of California. I completely forgot about that. So he's noticing this kind of stuff. The American public is not at all. And he's seeing us do weapon development. And he's saying, like, this is the retort, right? We have ours as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why most of the American public doesn't know this is going on is because the media is not reporting it. And whatever tactic that is, whatever we know, you know, Operation Mockingbird or whatever it's called, where, you know, the intelligence agencies are basically in control of the mainstream legacy media outlets on what to report and when to report it and how to report it. That if they're kind of ignoring this, is it simply to just provide shade for Biden as they burn things down on the way out? I mean, I really have no idea. I mean, I guess you know, there isn't a panic over this quite yet. And I'm certainly not calling for panic, but we certainly should just be made aware of what's going on. And I would like to know if Biden is going to address the nation after something like this, because you certainly, I mean, you have Putin right there calling out. I don't even think he mentioned Ukraine. He talked about America. This is America doing this. This is the United States doing this. And he's essentially acknowledging that he is actually showing this force not to Ukraine, but to the United States. And that's a flex that I think needs addressing.
A flex, that's a great way to put it, Matt. And yeah, no, I think Biden was last seen in the Amazon rainforest. No one knows where he is.
No.
All right. And it's hard. Okay, guys, it's hard to really put this into perspective. It's really difficult to say, like, this is so serious. What's the name of the show today? This is not a game. It is so serious, but like almost no one that's of a certain age can remember the Cuban Missile Crisis. And there was nothing like this. I know I look 27, Matt, but I'm actually 46, and there was nothing like this growing up. And now here it is. And actually, I'm even saying this now because we need to, like, realize the gravity of the scenario here. I think we're very close, very, very close to something pushing Putin. And, you know, you can tell that the Russians are trying to drag their feet. They can tell the game, but they have to defend themselves at the same time. And so, like, well, let's go to the Tucker video, I guess. Matt, go ahead, man. Tell me what you think. I'm rambling here because I don't really have the words.
Well, Tucker's trying to sound the alarm here, and he had Glenn Greenwald, independent journalist Glenn Greenwald, who he's the original guy that broke the Snowden story back in the day, I believe.
Right? Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So, but Glenn joined Tucker over there in Maine to discuss what's going on. Let's watch this.
I find it so terrifying. I don't think I'm sort of overstating that. I mean, we are on the brink of global war.
But can I just say one thing about that? Aren't you kind of amazed by how impervious and dismissive media and political elites are of the prospect of nuclear war?
Well, it's unimaginable, and yes, and I mean that's
like they think it can't happen.
Source of ongoing frustration. Yeah, and I will say the one thing that Trump has said repeatedly over the past, certainly since he left the presidency, 4 years, that he's received no credit for and should get enormous credit for, is that nuclear war is the worst thing. He was, of course, been briefed on it as the person who controlled the launch codes. He knows what it means. And anyone who spends 5 minutes looking into what a nuclear exchange would actually, do is terrified of it. But only Trump seems worried about it. I don't understand why.
I've said this, I've talked about this so many times. And I think it goes back to when Trump was president, in the early stages of presidency. Every time Trump talks about the prospect of nuclear war, he knows that he's limited in everything he can divulge, but he's so clearly trying to signal, and he often says it, these weapons are of a different universe than even the ones we dropped in Japan.
That's correct.
And he's obviously, as you said, understands and been briefed on.
But you see these morons.
So perfect timing. Tucker's always got perfect timing.
Yeah, I mean it's a good wake up call. I'm glad we're showing this stuff. I'm glad people are out there talking about it. And you really, if you're stuck watching CNN and MSNBC and NBC News and all this stuff, you're just not going to get that kind of analysis and kind of perspective that keeps you alert, keeps you on your toes. And I'm very grateful for that. And we know our audience who's watching here isn't necessarily glued to those channels, but Thanksgiving is coming up. So when you're sitting down with your loved ones, share some news.
Hey, fight over the vax with each other at the table. Okay.
That's right.
Try to convince them to become Christians if you can, and then maybe talk about Russia. Hey, Matt, we wanted to throw up this comment real quick.
Yeah.
This is a great comment. San Marco 499B. Alex Jones is reporting that Trump is holding back channel peace summit at Mar-a-Lago today with NATO. Let's hope so. Alex, thank you for that. Alex also was reporting that, I didn't see the part about NATO, but that he is doing back channel conversations with the Russians.
I mean, I would have to assume that that's going on.
But that itself is a trap, right?
Sure.
Russia. Imagine, let's just forward project into the future here. That Democratic Congress members are saying it's come to our realization that Trump is negotiating before he's president. We can't certify this traitor. If they don't try that, they have something. I hate to speak it into the world, but it probably already is a thing,
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, like I said, anything is possible. I didn't even think that we'd get to this point where they would be launching these missiles and doing what they're doing, but here we are. And so we just have to continue to pray on it. Some other quick hits that came up, and we're going to get into Matt Gaetz out and Pam Bondi in and what that means and stuff, but also you probably saw me searching frantically here, but I made a note for myself, but I can't find it. So instead, let's just go to the Zelenko protocol. How about that?
Oh wait, Matt, one second. I had this other video I wanted to share.
Oh, sure.
I'm going to share this. I'll stop it, guys, so we can kind of take a look at it. Now look, huge caveat here. We don't know. We can't confirm this. This was just breaking. And this is supposedly, I believe this is a Ukrainian drone attack that hit a weapons depot. But, this is a sobering video, so let's just take a look at this.
Yeah. I mean, we've played something similar to this before.
We did.
Watching this, it's incredible to see the amount of firepower and the amount of, what we're capable of. I mean, it's just
this is just a little version of what we're heading for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Terrifying.
I wish I had the answers, but I don't.
Yeah.
But we do know if we want to protect ourselves from the cold and flu season, you gotta head over to Dr. Zelenko and the Zelenko protocol. This is the Z-Stack. This is the supplement package that you need when the flu season and cold season is upon us, because it boosts your immune system. And your body is ready to take on these viruses. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about our body is that it can handle the work. And if you give it a boost like you can with these supplements to really get your immune system going, this is what you want. So scan the QR code, go over to the link in the description, and get 5% off by using the code WND. Consult with your physician, because we're not doctors. But I've used this protocol, especially during the pandemic, and it was a godsend. And I think having this stuff on hand and using it as a preemptive measure through the cold and flu season is a no-brainer. So scan the QR code, use the promo code WND, and hit that link in the description on all of the channels that you're watching right now, and get yourself set up for the rest of the winter. Okay.
Yeah, Matt, we wanted to throw up one more comment here, relevant to our last little chat, which is so from San Marco again. Peace talks with Russia during the transition is what brought down Michael Flynn and started the ridiculously named Crossfire Hurricane. These freaking morons. And you're so right, man.
Yeah, Michael Flynn was he was on vacation. He Obama had just deported or expelled like 30-something Russian delegates from the country, and that really upset the Russians. And so Flynn was talking to the Russian ambassador while he was on in a hotel room, and they said they were discussing sanctions, or they weren't discussing sanctions, or whatever it was. He was the incoming NSA director who should have been completely allowed to talk to the Russians at the time. And you're right. That's what kind of kicked off or extended expanded the investigation into the Trump administration being some sort of Russian asset. So yeah, if this is the playbook that they want to try and coax the incoming administration into, they're falling there right into that trap.
And they have no other choice, really, right? And I was going to say that
otherwise it's a brink of war here.
In the classic hypocritical Democrat way. Remember John Kerry's in Paris having secret meetings with Iranian leaders with no business doing that.
Right.
Because he thinks he's a globalist savior is what he thinks.
Well, they all do. And as an average everyday American, I mean, am I disbarred from if I run into Putin somewhere to sit there and say, hey man, what can we do to like stop this attack or this war or whatever? Like, you need to register with somebody to do that, to have a conversation with somebody? I guess so. I'm not necessarily advocating for that, but I mean, it just seems so obvious when you have all these people that are in the know, that have security clearances and stuff. I mean, it's like, I don't see what the big deal is, unless they're betraying their country, unless they're divulging secrets and being a traitor. But okay, well, let's move on to this Matt Gaetz thing, because this was announced yesterday. Matt Gaetz has pulled his name from the nomination, and apparently this is from Charlie Kirk, that Gaetz didn't have the support from 4 Republican senators: John Curtis of Utah, Susan Collins of Maine, Murkowski out in Alaska, and of course Mitch McConnell in Kentucky. And without those 4, that dipped below the 50% threshold that Gaetz would have needed to be confirmed. And even though there was the idea of a recess appointments, this constant scandal that was brewing, that Gaetz has not had any charges filed against him for or anything. And the ethics complaint, all this stuff, he decided to just walk away. But then Gaetz was on Charlie Kirk. This was last night or this morning, to give a little bit of a preview of what he's up to, what he will be up to. Let's watch that.
So, Matt, I now have to ask about just what your plans are, and it's okay if you have to, punt on it because you might not know. It's important to know you resigned from this Congress, not the next Congress. Our audience is 100% behind Matt Gaetz, by the way. They are very, very upset that you were not able to get all the way to Attorney General. I have to ask, what is next for Matt Gaetz?
I'm still going to be in the fight, but it's going to be from a new perch. I do not intend to join the 119th Congress. There are a number of fantastic Floridians who've stepped up to run for my seat, people who have inspired with their heroism, with their public service. And I'm actually excited to see Northwest Florida go to new heights and have great representation. Charlie, I've been in an elected office for 14 years. I first got elected to the state house when I was 26 years old, and I'm 42 now. And I've got some other goals in life that I'm eager to pursue with my wife and my family. And so I'm going to be fighting for President Trump. I'm going to be doing whatever he asks of me, as I always have. But I think that 8 years is probably enough time in the United States Congress. In Florida, our voters got to vote on term limits for state government, and the campaign was 8 is enough. And so you can only do 8 years in the Florida House of Representatives. And so it seems like a pretty poetic time to allow that great new blood to come in, to allow my district to have high quality representation. And don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not taking off for a tropical excursion for the rest of my life. I am here to help save this country. And one thing the great patriots at Turning Point know, we need people at every level. We need brilliant lawyers on the outside. We need tough congressmen and congresswomen on the inside. We need a leadership structure under President Trump that's going to allow for durability of our movement and the ability to continue this great realignment of our politics. And so I'll play a part in that. I plan to be a big voice, but maybe not as an elected member of the government.
Well, all right. That's fair enough for Gaetz to say that. I like to call balls and strikes on this, Josh. And this was all so.
What do you got, Matt?
Were so many coincidences, with the ethics thing and the all of this stuff that just so happens, and then he gets to use Florida voted 8 years for state government, so that sounds like pretty good timing for all these nice ways to go out on your own. I'm not trying to take anything away from what Gaetz has done, and he's been a fantastic representative. He's a firebrand, as he's known, but there's still some lingering questions out there about his past. So
did it feel like he had a gun to his back? A little bit, you know what I mean?
I mean, there was a ton of opposition, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. The guy has been the tip of the spear for so many years that if you take one step, if you make one misstep, and as a back, he's married now, he's going to starting a family, but he's a young guy, he's been in politics for a while, and you take one misstep, and that can haunt you forever. But we'll see where it goes from here.
It feels like something's hanging over his head, but that's the game. It's a terrible game, and it's a gross place. That's why they say nobody that's worth a crap gets into politics anymore, because they can expect every single thing to come after you. We don't know if that happened to Matt, but maybe he'll. It was actually, as he was talking, I'm like, I bet he's going to do a media career now.
The guy, he speaks brilliantly, and he's
why
very
not
discerning and stuff. So why not? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that made way for Pam Bondi, who's the AG down in Florida, or at least the former AG down in Florida. She's got nominated by Trump. And as I was watching the reactions, Josh, I saw both Lindsey Graham and Roger Stone applaud this. So depending on where you're at, okay. I don't know. If you've got Lindsey Graham, it's confusing. So we'll just have to see how it goes. This is Trump's pick. We know she campaigned for him. She was out on the stump. She gave a few speeches out there on the trail. People have called her. I've seen other clips where people are calling her out for being, for, I don't necessarily maybe being a huge advocate, but maybe even supporting red flag laws. So it's a mixed bag, as with everybody. You're not going to agree with everybody 100%, but this is the pick, and she's definitely been. Josh has decided to go anonymous, folks.
I guess I just turned.
We're gonna have a.
There it is. What, did the power go out? They heard you talking, Matt.
I was like, we have a whistleblower on the air right now. And anyways, yeah, so we'll watch. We'll see Pam. It seems like Pam Bondi is a much easier, pill to swallow.
Estelle thinks she's a great pick.
Yeah, great pick. All right. Well, Estelle, I'm with you. And then the other news is that Dan Scavino confirmed that Mike Rogers is not in consideration as FBI director.
Fantastic.
So I don't know
what's wrong with What's wrong with Mike Rogers?
Oh, he's a lunatic, I think.
Could you explain that?
Yeah,
like, what's wrong with him?
He's I'm pretty sure this is the guy that went after, I could be wrong, but when Matt Gaetz, when they were going after, when they were doing the speaker thing, and there was that one guy that lunged for Matt Gaetz. I don't know if you remember that one. I think that's Mike Rogers. I could be completely wrong. I could be, I might have to have egg on my face for that. But there was, but if it's not the guy that lunged, it's one of the guys that would have supported the lunging.
The lunging. Lunge gate.
Yeah, so he's definitely has not been a big Trump supporter, that's for sure. He's on the record as not being a big Trump supporter. So I don't know why his name was out there. Again, it's one of those things where they're just trying to push names out there to float, and see what happens. So anyway, that's so that's where we're at. Well, let's I love when we can talk about the new grip on your.
Hey, get a grip, Matt. Yeah. Here, there
it is.
I don't have this camera 2 up, but there you go. Look at that guy. Look at the matching furniture with the sights
all the way down the line.
Come on now. On now.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's great. And what that is, folks, that is the Kung Fu grip right there, which is on a different angle. It's got a 12-degree angle. And that gives you a much better. I mean, when you're holding that thing, Josh, and we'll go back to that in a second because I want people to. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's how I hold it. Okay.
Yeah. Boom. Right.
See how my finger's not up there? Yeah.
Yeah. That's really nice. Really nice.
Oh, whoever's watching us on YouTube, our censor over on YouTube's, their blue hair is turning gray right now.
Just freaked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's QR code there. That's what you need to scan. It'll take you over to Dye Free Company to get their Kung Fu grip. They're quality made. They're inexpensive. They're priced to sell. They're priced to swap out.
Yeah, they're great. Buy everybody a couple for Christmas. It's actually a really cool gift because, unlike most firearms equipment, it's really affordable.
Yeah. Oh, I should show that.
You got yours, Matt?
No, I don't. But they get shipped in a cool bag.
Oh yeah. Okay, I wanted to show you too.
Which I don't have.
Look,
what do you got? What do you in there?
This one's $20. Okay, the grip. Yeah. And then this is a really cool little additional thing they add. Let me put it back here so you can see it. This is a plug, like a rubberized plug.
Yeah.
What you put in there is 2 photocell batteries that you would use on your light. So I'll try to next week or before Christmas, I'll get a light on here. Maybe this is a segment where watch Josh build the gun. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So
that's because it's Friday. We love Friday.
Thank God it's Friday.
Very good. All right. Well, I don't have any, unless you've added any more clips. I mean, do we have anything else to cover? I think we should get out of here. Folks, you got to go over to the Rumble channel. If you're not there, you got to go to Rumble. Go to Rumble.
Oh, I'm being told by my wife to tell wives, hey, buy these for your husbands if they're man enough. I hope they're man enough to have an AR-15. I won't call it the other word. The
assault rifle.
Hey, ladies, this makes a great gift. Okay,
it does, man. If I got one of these
stocking stuffer, yeah. So I just received that message. Oh, thank you, Matt, for mentioning Rumble. Hey, everybody, what's up? Guess what? This whole episode's going to be censored by YouTube because there was a pew pew gun in it. Go to Rumble, watch us over there. But more importantly than anything else is follow us over there. We would really love you to do that. And, a lot of the comments came from Rumble. Estelle, I see you watching on YouTube. I appreciate that. But if you watch us on Rumble, so every 30 minutes, guys, after the show goes live, I get the alerts from YouTube. You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that. The song from the intro we've licensed. They still hit us for it. So long story short, go to Rumble, follow us over there, even comment over there, which we love. San Marco, thanks, man. You're like actually following us on Rumble. We really appreciate that. And the only other place is X, and we put a lot of video on X. I put a video clip on X this morning talking about Israel. So we have David Brummer over at Israel. He's our Israel bureau chief for news, and you can go watch it over there. We'll just on our X account. But crazy enough, I don't know if you know this, but the International Criminal Court has decided to make Netanyahu and I think Benny Gantz, I can't remember who the other guy is, criminals. So now they join the ranks of dictators around the world, apparently as international criminals, which is really the dumbest thing ever. I don't know how you feel about Israel. Hopefully you understand that they have to survive, and they're going to do what they will, just like we would. And that's all I got, Matt.
That's all you ever got. That's all you ever got. All right. Well, that's great. That's all we need for this Friday. Thank you so much for everybody for watching. We'll be back here next week. We got a couple of shows. It's the holidays coming up, but we'll be here for a bit. And that's it. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great weekend.